I know something that has become, as we might say, a top-level issue in our culture today. And just to mention, you worked with the Alliance Defending Freedom before you came on board with the James Dobson Family Institute. ADF has been really on the front lines of this issue as well, and that has to do with gender in sports, where you have biological males who are going through some sort of gender, quote unquote, by air quotes are going here, gender transition, and because they now identify with and perhaps have had some sort of treatment, therapy, or even surgery to transition, or they think that they are transitioning to another gender, now they begin to compete in the sports of that new gender with which they identify.
Right.
It has been singled out, rightly so, as being something that's terribly unfair when you have biological males that are competing with biological females, and because of the biology here, you're seeing young ladies that have perhaps. And I know in the track and field area, it's been something that has been brought out, but they've been training and they've been trying to be the best at their sport. And now these biological males are coming in and they're sweeping the awards. It certainly is unfair.
You said it. Women are losing opportunities. Women are being kicked off the field or off the track. They're being kicked off the medal stand. And because of that, they're losing opportunities for college scholarships. They're losing opportunities to fully participate in the sport that they love. And you're right, it's not fair. Athletes want strong competition. Athletes also want fair competition. And that's not what's happening when you allow biological males to compete in women's sports.
So how is it that you foresee the James Dobson Family Institute can really be involved as far as speaking out on this, and if I may use the word inequality in that arena?
Well, that's what needs to happen. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we need. Americans, conservatives, Christians, everyone all around the country to speak out on this, because sometimes what happens is the truth becomes too controversial. And we went recently to a local college and we asked college students who are being impacted by this, we asked them, what do you think about men competing in women's sports? And it was fascinating because one of those students told me off camera, he said men should not be competing in women's sports. He also told me he did not want to say that on camera. And so
really?
Right. And
oh,
so that's what we want to do.
That's what we're dealing with.
At the Dobson Institute is we want to communicate it's okay to speak out on this issue. This is about women's equality, and when you allow men to compete in women's sports, you're rolling back decades of progress for women, and that's wrong, and we need to not be afraid to say it.
All right, so the thought occurs to me as we're having this discussion, so you have this so-called transgender rights debate. It's part of the overall LGBT rights debate. Okay, so you got, on one hand, you got the so-called LGBT rights. On the other hand, you've got what you might call women's rights.
Right.
So it seems like, to me, and I guess this has to, there probably is an intersectionality element in it as well, but it seems like to me right now, when you have a conflict between gay rights and women's rights, LGBT rights win the day.
Well, what's happening is the LGBT movement is not asking for equal rights, they're asking for special rights.
Sure.
Every individual has the opportunity to participate in sports that correspond with their biological gender, with their gender. We do that all the time. There's a reason that in wrestling you have weight classes. Okay, that's not unfair to ask people to participate in a class based on that biological factor. And that's all that we're doing when we insist that women should compete in women's sports and men should compete in men's sports. And there are biological, scientific reasons for that, and we need to not deny it.